Welcome, listeners, to today's podcast. I'm Ilyas, and with me is my co host Amiruddin Sayed. Today, we are diving into a recent and rather dramatic incident involving CrowdStrike's Falcon sensor for Windows, which led to widespread system crashes and blue screen of death. We have got a lot of cover, so let's get started.
Yep, so that's right, Elias. This update has led a lot of hue and cry on 19 July and having a lot of headaches to user as well as organization, giving some bad names for Microsoft initially and later on for CrowdStrike. When interestingly later on it found out that actually root cause was CrowdStrike Falcon sensor. If we just give a small uh, interesting analogy there. What exactly happened? For example, if you have a car and car is of some X model, and you have some telemetry or infotainment model of some third party vendor. Uh, so that third party vendor is Y, and your car is from X company. That Y company has provided some update because it has prior access to do those updates into your car. It's not going through the proper channel of the testing of X car model. So it just went on into your car, and when you are trying to start your car, it's the car is trying to load that update into your infotainment, and your infotainment is getting those errors because of the internal null issue. In this case it was a null issue, but it could be any bug, and because of that bug the car is repeatedly going into sleep mode, and that sleep mode is leading your car stopping again and again. And so to map the analogy, the X model is your Microsoft Windows in this case, or 365 application, and Y is CrowdStrike. Falcon sensor is your infotainment in this case. So this is the main issue which we dealt on 19 July, and some of a couple of companies are still dealing it. So let's start further. What exactly happened there?
Sure. Amir, as you all know, the Falcon sensor is a key part of CrowdStrike's endpoint detection response or EDR system. It's designed to monitor, detect, and prevent threats, in real time situations. By integrating deeply into the Windows operating system at the OS layer, this means it operates at a very high privilege level, which is both a strength and a potential weakness as well. So as soon as they push the upgrade to all the Windows machine across, that made a potential impact, to get BSOD, which is known as blue screen of death. The Windows operating system then crashed, and then they had to go over multiple hoops in order for them to get the Windows machine back online.
Yep, exactly. So the recent update was intended to counteract a malicious name pipe, which is used for inter-process communication in Windows. Name pipe is bit of like a secret tunnel, which provide connection between tunnels between different parts of your computer, which is used to talk with each other. So the update was supposed to enhance security by closing these tunnels to attacker, but it actually triggered a logic error, and which in turns became a huge problem there.
Right. Actually, I would like to echo that, and to add it, the error caused the sensor to attempt accessing an invalid memory address. So specifically 0x9C. In layman's term, it's likely trying to enter a locked room without a key. Does that make sense? So the system didn't know what to do, so it just crashed. And because Falcon operates on deeply in the system, so this led to widespread blue screen of death across, the figures what they are showing is like 8.5 million systems.
Yep, exactly. So even shedding further light here, there have been a couple of Twitter accounts. I think Zach is one of the a popular one who found. from reverse engineering who found out that the null dereferencing was there, and it's actually full of null. The memory is full of null, and it's became the issue when system is trying to reference the system's boot order is something like which comes around from high priority to lower priority, and due to the Falcon sensor critical driver, it has a higher priority, and at the time of boot, the higher priority driver is trying to execute, and because of the memory loader is trying to find something to execute, but there is nothing because of the null, full of null memory references, and it doesn't know what to do there. So it's just crashing. So this was one of the issue there. And one of the wildest thing which happened in this incident, and which is also notable, that although various domain got infected and airline was one of them, and most of the airline were down, but Southwest Airline was not. Incidentally, they were using very old version, that's 3.1. I don't know how many of our user know about Windows 3.1, but it's been at least 30 years, more than 30 years old. And because of this, they actually managed to avoid the chaos. So it just goes to show how different configuration can impact the rollout of updates.
Yeah, that's a great point, Amir. So like, so if we see very closely what exactly went wrong and speculate on some possible underlying issues. So first off, this incident isn't entirely unprecedented. So in the past, we have seen similar issues with other security tools as well, right? So for an instance, Carbon Black, so caused a kernel panic a few years ago, leading to widespread crashes in other organizations too. So it completely depends upon like what OS you're like as you mentioned, Southwest Airlines is using 3.1 version. So like the Falcon sensor again is managed. So basically it has to like every time when you push an upgrade, roll out an upgrade to like across many like million of operating systems. So the developer or like whoever is like managed trying to push the upgrade should like should have a backup plan as well as like a rollout plan as well, like paying a standby and a master kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's the main problem, and exactly bang on, Elias there. So as we we have understood till now that the high priority kernel process was the main uh, issue because of which the whole crash down happened on the faulty update. So as we can, and actually I heard from various sources that this particular update was actually able to bypass the update policies, and people were quite not able to understand why the update policy were not able to stop it. Again, the main reason is was the kernel integration, and the higher priority kernel integration are executing on the higher boot order, and on that front, only if you have a guardrail around your boot order, which might able to handle the level bug and report them, only then you will be able to realize these issues. This raised some questions on the quality assurance, specifically release testing and release testing, which was done on CrowdStrike. It seems that there have been some failure on that, and in an absence of adequate test, the update went through and was not able to roll back.
Yeah, like speaking of testing, it's crucial to consider the order in which like drivers are loaded during boot. So that's the most important thing. And the secondly, the Falcon sensor, due to its high priority, might be loaded before other critical components like the network stack. So this could have been compounded the issue, but then specifically if the driver itself was corrupted, then there's no point. The entire upgrade is incomplete, right?
Yeah, that's a valid observation. It seems so. There have been many memes around this whole fiasco. a intern meme or some developer memes that some developer got some error, and because of that the whole issue arises. It's highly unlikely to because of no, we know that this is a null pointer dereferencing error, and this doesn't happen from one line of code change. It's maybe it may be a file which is corrupted, which got uploaded somehow, and but we won't be only know for sure once the full comprehensive investigation by CrowdStrike is done, and we get the whole report. But
Right.
as now the speculation is around, like maybe a corrupted file was there, and we can so we have to follow various channels from Twitter, Reddit, and for the interested people, they can get into it. And it's likely that the release team missed, as I've already said, the release team has missed the quality assurance step on this one. It's not. It's usually in this case, like as you have pointed out, the carbon black issue that was handled on a manual intervention. Usually, the automated testing doesn't know to or usually is not having the rule set to detect these kind of bugs. So this again, the situation underscored the importance of comprehensive testing, especially for the updates that impact kernel level operations.
Well, like another interesting aspect is the speculations around the file being full or null values. So as you mentioned, so in the scenario, so like there are improperly formatted files. So if the speculation holds true, it raises questions about the internal process at CrowdStrike. Like specifically, it prompts inquiries into how such a critical error could have occurred and passed through their quality assurance or validation procedures. Such incident often led to reflections on the robustness of internal controls, right? So the effectiveness of testing protocols and the thoroughness of validation checks, like before the updates are deployed. So in cybersecurity and software development, so where precision and reliability are paramount. So even seemingly minor errors in file formatting or content can have significant consequences. Therefore, but the main understanding here is the root cause of such errors is crucial for preventing like similar issues in the future and maintaining trust in the system and update and provided with organizations like CrowdStrike at this point.
Yeah, so you rightly pointed out a very critical, very old issue from initially when initially the main IT issue was that in 90s that if there is a single line of code was changed and there was some bug, the whole system get down. But because of uh, CI/CD pipeline, we don't see these kind of issues anymore. But this episode has led us to understand that still these kind of issues might happen in some critical issues, in some critical cases. So absolutely, customers are right now on speculation and trying to troubleshoot this on their own. And Microsoft has provided a recovery tool which actually lets on to understand and help the users uh, to provide the necessary remediation that we can further discuss there.
Right, that's a great point, Amir, actually. So, from the remediation, if we talk from the remediation standpoint, that steps that user attempted when faced with this catastrophic failures potentially caused by an update file filled with null values or improperly formatted content. So one notable workaround that users discovered was simply remaining the CrowdStrike directory. So this approach acted like a makeshift solution, I would say, to prevent the problematic update from loading. So by remaining the directory, users essentially trick the system into bypassing the directory that contain the faulty update. So it's an akin to telling the computer like, hey, don't look here. Surprisingly, it worked for someone. And then that's a quick fix, I would say, because there are few key aspects where user ingenuity, temporary relief, and highlighting the vulnerabilities and prompting further investigations So overall scenario underscores the importance of having a robust update and validation process in place. So it also highlights how user experience and feedback can play a critical role in identifying and addressing the software issues. So as CrowdStrike, as a huge company, and other similar organizations analyze these incidents so they can improve their systems to prevent similar occurrence in the future and enhance their overall reliability.
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, it was a clever but temporary solution. The long term or the better solution is to recover it from the safe mode.
Right.
Recovering it from WinPE is one of the recommended solution given by Microsoft as well, and they have provided a recovery tool which actually directly recover the systems, doesn't require the local admin privileges, and you can manually enter the required BitLocker recovery keys, as well as, which was one of the issues when people were trying to reboot their system into safe mode, but they were not able to do it because of the BitLocker keys, and the admin privileges was not there. But the recovery tool, which is USBBS, we can just plug in on your recovery tool, and the remediation script execute from your WinPE and handle rest of the stuff so automatically.
Right. To address this, first, if you need to boot your system into safe mode, so this is like starting your car in a special mode that only allow essential functions to run. So once in safe mode, you can delete the specific configuration file causing this issue. So the guide will be we can provide the guide in the show notes if if users wants to if they encounter any sort of issues in the future.
Yep, sure. And so the guide will be there with in the show notes, as well as the recovery tool link, which was provided by Microsoft. So users can who are still having these issues, which can refer the link, as well as there were a couple of comments from various users on my previous short, which we actually published yesterday. So they might be it might be useful for those users, as well as you are welcome to post more comments. We will try to answer if any new issues are there which are still be dealt, which need to be still dealt because of this, because this is a complicated scenario for once you have done it multiple times. It is pretty straightforward. In some of the cases, I have heard that people have tried rebooting their system 10 to 15 times, and it worked 15 times, it worked 10 times. So you never know which solution is working for you, depending on your environment and configuration.
Right. Absolutely. So the fun fact here is did you know did you know that the hexadecimal system, so which is used to represent memory addresses, is a base 16 system, right? It's chosen for its convenience in computer operations. For example, the problematic memory address 0x9C. So it's much easy. It's much easier to handle in hexadecimal way, like in the hexadecimal system, than in a decimal way.
Yep, absolutely. So that's an interesting fun fact, and here's the story for our listener. As I was discussing earlier, the programmers in earlier days had to write code on punch card, and if there was even a single mistake on the punch card, the whole program be crashing. In this scenario, this sounds similar. For Falcon updates, one error is leading into huge consequences. Although we are still speculating, it might be something new. But as of now, this is one of the seemingly issue which led into a null dereferencing errors here.
Right. Yeah, fantastic. That's a great comparison, actually. So, and it really underscores the importance of thorough testing, right? So the Falcon sensor operates at the kernel level of operating system, meaning it has a deep access to the core function of Windows. This is great for security, but any errors can be catastrophic too.
Yep. So yeah, it's all boils down to the level of access given to the Falcon sensor, and due to because it was using kernel callbacks to monitor the system behavior and process creation, file system access, and network activity. So essentially, it was a deep integration which is required to make the threads software effective. And but in this case, this caused so much trouble and the whole crash down.
Right. Moving forward, it's crucial for vendors from the vendor standpoint, like CrowdStrike, to ensure rigorous testing and quality assurance first, and then especially for updating affecting kernel operations. The incidents highlights the potential impact, like system stability, when such errors occur.
Yep. So, what's there more for our listener of this channel? We will be further keenly looking into this issue and similar issues, and bringing on more latest update as the community solutions comes around. And because the collective knowledge and experience should be shared and will be very incredibly helpful for similar cases in future.
Right. If we wrap this up, the takeaways here, is the balance between the deep security integration and the potential risk. So which is privilege, which is a privilege typically reserved for the most trusted and fundamental parts of system, offers powerful security capabilities. So it allows security software like CrowdStrike to monitor and protect the system at a very fundamental level, intercepting threats that might otherwise go undetected by applications with less privileged access. So, however, this level of access also comes with significant responsibilities and risks. Any mistakes or vulnerabilities in software that operates at the kernel level can have severe and widespread consequences. For instance, if an update, the file filled with a null value or improperly formatted data reaches, as we mentioned, so it can lead to it can lead to catastrophic failures too. So compromising the entire system's stability and security might have ongoing vigilance, like the dynamic nature of cybersecurity threat necessities, and the ongoing vigilance and adaptation from the security software must continually evolve to address new threats while maintaining rigorous standards for stability and reliability too. So to top it off, so I would say, like, while kernel level access provides unmatched security capabilities, so it is also required a heightened level of diligence to manage the associated risk effectively. Striking the right balance between the deep integration and the risk management was most important and essential as well for delivering robust, reliable, and trusted security solutions.
Yep. So that's the conundrum, having the balance between security and your production stability. In this case, we might see in future organizations, including Microsoft, looking into their current kernel level access to various third-party vendors and trying to put guardrail around it. And yeah, there will be a huge tussle in future for various security vendors to get kernel access level functionality for for using the monitoring services for threat activities. But this episode has made a challenging scenario for security to present their case even strongly as before. So yeah, essentially, I hope for our users this discussion is useful and engaging, informative for our users to understand what exactly happened on this CrowdStrike Falcons sensor update incident. And yeah, in future we will bring on more information as it comes around.
Right. So, like, to wrap up, the key takeaways here is the balance between a deep security integration, as we mentioned. So before we wrap up, can you let the listeners know where can we find more information on this incident?
Yep. So I will be putting out a couple of links in the show notes. Essentially, if for the recovery tool, there is a Microsoft link that will be into the show notes, which can be used to recover recover your impacted window endpoints. There is 2 repair options for in that USB zip file. First one is a recover for WinP, and second one is from safe mode. So those will be in show notes. So yeah, so just a reminder that the incident like this highlight the importance of testing and potential risks of updates. So always have a backup plan and stay informed about latest development into your system tools.
Well, perfect. Thanks for breaking that down, Amir. So this was really an insightful discussion for a complex issue. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Yep. So that's I think we have summed up the importance of testing and updates, as well as the understanding of kernel level integration, how third party tools might create a issue in case of any faulty update. So I think for the users, this understanding, specifically for the beginners in cybersecurity, this understanding can help in future to have those vendor analysis done on their own part whenever they join any organization, and people in an organization, I think, will be having a better understanding and better focus on these kind of third party integration in future.
Well, great. That's a great advice. Thanks again, Amir, and thank you to our listeners for tuning into Cyber GPT Pulse. We will see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Stay safe and stay informed.